Hey guys, what's up? So, my name's Braden, and I want to talk to you guys about something that's going on in the world. And I'm pretty sure at this point everyone has heard about George Floyd. And one thing that I think that Christians need to focus on, and we need to start working on, is unity. And lots of people are saying that this is going to take a miracle. Because at this point, so many things are going on, and there's so many different opinions right now that there's nothing but a miracle that's going to fix this. And I want to talk to you guys about miracles and about faith in God. Because everyone at some point in their life is going to desperately need a miracle. Whether it's freedom from addiction, a cure from an illness, or for someone you know to come to Christ. Or even what's going on right now with George Floyd is we want unity. We want people to be able to come together, to be able to have real conversations. Not just where I'm going to get mad at you, we're just going to yell at each other. Because that's not a real conversation. That's not going to fix anything. And so you see, but sometimes when we wait, we begin to stop believing that God can do it. We begin to stop believing that God is the God of miracles. And right now, I'm sure that many Christians are out there right now thinking, unity is impossible. Like, I'm not even sure that God can have a miracle to where people are unified. And we begin to start to doubt God's ability or even His plan throughout all of this. But what if God told you you had to wait a month for your miracle? And I know that's not how miracles work. I know that that's not how things work in your life. But I'm putting it into this context because sometimes in our lives we need to get to a certain point of maturity before God's going to have that miracle in your life. Sometimes we need to get to a certain point in our lives. We need to get to a certain place in our faith walk before something happens. So I'm going to put it into a day perspective to make it a little bit easier to understand. And so what if God asked you to wait a month for your miracle? Would you do it? Would you fight through long enough for a month? Of course you would, yes. You would fight through with every single ounce of energy you had. I mean, wouldn't it be great if God gave you a detailed step-by-step plan of everything that's going to happen in your life, when you're going to get married, when you're going to have kids, when you're going to retire, how much money you're going to have, what you spend your money on. I mean, it wouldn't just be great, but it'd be amazing. But the thing is, that's not how God works, because, catch this, because this is really important. God wants us to focus on Him more than we trust and rely on the plan. Now let me say that again, because that might be the most important thing you get out of this video. Because God is greater than the plan, so God wants us to trust and rely on Him more than we trust and rely on the plan, because He is the God of miracles. He is the one who does all these things, not the plan. The plan is something that He created. And you see, the hard part about this is that so many times, let's say God wants to wait 30 days, going back to that example. We would stop on day 29, hour 23, minute 59, second 59, because it's too hard. And we've given up, and that's what it is right now, it feels like. In our world, we've given up on unity. We've given up that there's going to be a possibility of that. It's right at the edge. We have a chance, and we're just going to give up on it. Or we give up on that miracle that God would free us from our addiction, and He's saying, wait till this maturity level. Get this close to me. Get to this area on your faith walk, and you'll be freed from this. And we say, right at the very verge, we go, it's too hard. I can't do it. And think about how many people would be free from their addictions. How much more unity would there be, not only in the world, but in the church, if we just continue being persistent, if we just continue going after God, believing that He's the God of miracles. And you see, but we give up. If God never gave up on you, then why did you give up on Him? That's what we're doing so often. We're giving up on Him. Never give up on your miracle. Because I promise you, God is never done. And it's amazing because no matter what happens, God is not going to be done. He's going to keep working in your life. No matter how close you get to Him, He's going to work. No matter how far away from Him you get, He's going to work in your life. And He's asking for patience, reliance, and trust in Him. A great example of patience and persistence is found in 1 Kings 17:17 through 24. And it says, sometime later, the son of the woman who owned the house became ill. He grew worse and worse and finally stopped breathing. And she said to Elijah, "What have you against me, man of God? Did you come to remind me of my sin and kill my son?" Elijah said, "Give me your son." He took him from her arms and carried him into the upper room where he was staying and laid him on his bed. Then he cried to the Lord, "Lord my God, have you brought tragedy even on this widow I am staying with by causing her son to die?" When he stretched himself out on the boy 3 times and cried to the Lord, "Lord my God, let this boy's life return to him." The Lord heard Elijah's cry, and the boy's life returned to him, and he lived. Elijah picked up the child, carried him down from the room into the house, and he gave him to his mother and said, "Look, your son is alive." The woman said to Elijah, "Now I know that you are a man of God, and the word of the Lord from your mouth is truth." But did you catch the interesting thing? In verse 21, it said he stretched himself out on the boy 3 times. 3 times. If he stretched himself out 1 time, the boy would not have been healed. It took 3 times. It took persistence. He couldn't have given up after 1 or 2 times, because then the miracle would not have happened. And this Bible story reminded me of a personal story that one of my youth pastors told. And he was telling us about how when he was a teenager, he was in a deep state of depression, where he had to take antidepressant medication to make it through the day. And he said that every time that he was at youth group or at church, he would go up asking for prayer. Every time there was an altar call, he'd be up there begging God to free him from his depression. And once in a while, he'd be like, "I'm free. I'm good. Everything is awesome." And he would go home, he'd skip his medicine that night and the next day, and around lunch is when he would start feeling it every day. And he wasn't healed. But did that stop him? No. He continued going. Not 1 time, not 2 times, but over like 30 times. He continued going up, and it was amazing because he had so much faith in God. He knew that God could heal him. And he knew, whether he knew it or not, he was letting himself mature while still being persistent. He was letting himself grow closer to God while he was still begging for the same thing. Until one day he went up and asked for prayer, and the next day around lunchtime, he realized he hadn't taken his medicine the night before, and he was completely healed. You hear this? This is a miracle that God did. God completely healed him. And you see, if he had given up after 1 or 2 times, this never would have happened. And this story made me think to myself, what things have I given up on? After 1 or 2 times of at night begging and crying out to God for him to help me so little beforehand, what things have I given up on that I was like, "Jesus, save me"? But because it didn't come in my timing, I gave up on it. See, as a church, we need to be like Elijah and that pastor. Never giving up, full of belief and hope, certain of what God is going to do in our lives. But this requires trust. And I know I said this before, but you have to catch this. Because God wants us to have faith in Him and not the plan. And so many times we want to know His plan. And we're like, we want to know exactly what His plan is. Or sometimes we don't even care what His plan is. We're like, make it in my timing. How about my plan? And we have a step-by-step plan for our lives. And it's good to have plans for our lives. But we need to be flexible enough to go with God. And we want it to happen in our time. If it doesn't happen in our time, then we give up. And we have to remember that God is so much greater than the plan. He's the God of miracles, and the plan is not a God of miracles. God is the God of miracles, Yahweh. And only with these things in mind can we influence the world. Only then will change happen. Only then will we receive our miracles. And not every miracle is going to happen. That won't happen every time. Sometimes God says no. But other times He says wait. And unless He specifically says no, I will continue praying for. If he doesn't say no, I take it as wait, draw closer to me, mature. Always go after God. And you see, you have an opportunity today. God's giving you an opportunity today, right here, right now. You have two choices. One, you continue going along your way with your stale, useless life, without having immense faith in God, without believing that God is the God of miracles, wanting just your plan to happen. Or you could live by faith and not by sight, believing that God is capable of anything, that God is going to do something amazing in your life, that God is going to change your life, and he is going to change others through you, that he's going to help you live as a broken vessel for him. I know what I want. Do you? Because only when we trust God and have faith in him will our miracle really happen. Only then will we influence the world. Only then will people see Christ, and we will receive the miracle God has in his plan for us. I beg you, continue seeking God, drawing closer to him, and you will live the most fulfilled life ever. I love you guys. Peace out.